What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting these possibilities for you to consider, enabling you to come up with your own conclusions. All right, ladies and gentlemen, code breakers around the world, wherever you may be. My name is Logan. I'm going to be your tour guide for this episode of Scripted Reality. We are up to number 31. I get a lot of feedback on these. Thanks, everybody, for being a part of this series. A lot of you love these scripted realities, so I just continue to pump them out. And I have a dandy for you, a dandy scripted reality number 31. This one is kind of on OpenAI. A huge topic on the world stage right now. ChatGPT, the architect, OpenAI, artificial intelligence. And in the background, you're seeing this is a server room. And this reminded me, and I had to go back and take an image of the show Lucifer. And this was off of season 2, episode 3. It was called Sin Eater. There's a lot of clues in this episode. And him and Decker are in this server room. And Lucifer says to Decker, detective, he says, this is kind of what hell looks like. And it's really interesting because, in server rooms, it's really cold. It's the opposite of the hotness. But when he says this, this is what hell looks like. Could it be, ladies and gentlemen, that going into the computer, going farther down in the rabbit hole is getting trapped even deeper into a different layer, into another fractal of our reality that we call life? I don't know. It's really interesting of what's going on in the world stage right now, especially with this platform that has come out and really kind of taken a stronghold on the scene right now. But if you ever get a chance to go watch this episode, season 2, episode 3, it's got a lot of gems in it. Anyways, I know there's something here, but I'll let you explore that on your own time. But ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of what I found. We've done this a lot over the years here at Decoding Reality, where we take a logo, a symbol, mirror it, duplicate it, and merge it. And when you do that with these two, you got to flip the mirrored one around. But when you bring them together, it looks like that. And all you have to do is put in the Star of David. So there it is. And it's already there because the hexagon, even if you move it back, the hexagon is there. Then it forms the hexagram. Star of David. Well, we're going to get to why that is, for sure. But let's show you some chemistry. And I'm going to show you how scripted our reality is. These two elements on the periodic table are the shapes that form the Star of David. The only two that have the tetrahedrons right side up and upside down. I don't know why the Royal Society of Chemistry put these as the icons for these elements. Now, keep in mind, sulfur is one of the 3 elements as an ingredient to the Philosopher's Stone. Sulfur, mercury, and sodium. But I don't know why the Royal Society of Chemistry decided to put these tetrahedrons both one right side up and then upside down. But when you merge them together, you get the Star of David. And when you alchemize those, when you do the molar mass of sulfur and cadmium, their average isotopes, there's that 144. And you know how big the 144 is because, it's in the Bible. It's the chosen ones. And that 144 is going to lead to neodymium on the periodic table, which is going to lead to head of the snake if you've been paying attention. Yep. This is what you don't want to be a part of, but maybe not you. So here are the 2 elements. You can have fun with these. You can check out the melting points. You can check out the boiling points. You can add them up. I'm telling you, there's clues everywhere in these elements. Tons of them. Can't go really anything deeper on the discovery date because sulfur's prehistoric, cadmium's 1817. It's about as far as we can go with that. 48's a very, very dominant number because it is a duplicating number in the replication of numbers. 2, 4, 8, 12, all that, 24, 4. It's a replication number, so that's a big deal. Okay. So moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, let's do the numerology now of Star David, and I'm going to go right to the Hebrew. Now, OpenAI, and when we get to all this kind of stuff, you're going to see it's tied right to Judaism. And that's just me stating that and showing you the obvious. We get a 44. It's interesting, too, because Satan in Hebrew is 44. The original word for Satan. It's a 3-letter word in Hebrew. It's a 44 through numerology. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, you see, I feel that the whole OpenAI and ChatGPT in the age of Aquarius is going to put us into this position here. I think it's inevitable. It's just a matter of when. The age of Aquarius is not the age of Pisces. Pisces was kind of the last frontier for physical bodies. And now you're moving into the Aquaman, you're moving into the air sign of Aquarius. And this was the altered carbon show, which came from the book. But you could see the hexagons in the background, the honeycomb there. Clearly. I didn't create that. I did create this graphic. There's multiple layers, but I did not put these hexagons in the background. They were already there. So you can see the 44 all over it, transhumanism. And I've been saying this for a long time. The Bible is a book about transhumanism. It is. 44 reduces down to the number 8, and that's why the DNA is the number 8. The 8th letter in the Hebrew alphabet is Heth, or Chet, and that has the DNA strand in it, if you go to the Egyptian hieroglyphs and what it's attached to. So we're going to get into, Jesus says, I'm the root and offspring of David, so Jesus is tied right to this, for sure. But anyway, altered carbon, ChatGPT, OpenAI, immortality, that's what we're moving towards, at least the foundations of them. And this book by Richard Morgan came out in 2002, and it blows me away, the clues, because even that right there, that's got the 22 in it, and 22 is titanium, and that's the sons and daughters of Earth, the Titans, tied to the fallen ones, tied to the Olympians kicking the Titans out of heaven. All those stories fit in here. But I've got it highlighted here for the premise of the book, is that humans end up reaching virtual immortality. There was even an episode on X-Files, I think it was season 11, episode 2 or 3, where people are stuck inside of a computer and they want out. It's kind of fascinating. But anyway, it's really about virtual immortality. I mean, is it a coincidence that OpenAI was founded on December 8th, 2015? And when you add all those numbers up and do the numerology of that date, it gives you 55, which matches virtual immortality? That's what they're after, obviously. Immortality in the computer. Which is why maybe when we go back up here, maybe that's why Lucifer says, oh, this looks a lot like hell. Because maybe that's what it is. Virtual immortality, and the virtual is really the big word here besides the immortality, because it's tied to the element silicon. It's also tied to vanadium, but it's tied to silicon. What is silicon, and what does it have to do with virtual immortality? Well, where is OpenAI located? In San Francisco, which I know technically it's not part of Silicon Valley because that would be Mountain View and where Google headquarters are, but it's right there. Apple's there. Silicon Valley, the technology capital of the world. Think about what I'm showing you in the connections of this. How are these connections able to come out this way? Because I just don't buy that man is coding this. Certainly this was done on purpose, but was this done on purpose? Was this tied to that? And is it tied to this? And silicon chips in computers. We're in the age of Aquarius, which is the age of the computer. Got a long way to go. A long way to go. So let me show you some more scripted reality here. Here is the address of the headquarters for OpenAI in San Francisco. They're on 3rd Street. I looked it up. The building is owned by Uber. Uber has several stakeholders. BlackRock is one of them. Not that that means anything, but amongst a few other big ones. But the address, when you spell it all out, is 148. And that wasn't even the big one. That is a big one. I'm going to show you that. But the big one is right there. There's 30 letters and 14 words in the complete address for the headquarters of OpenAI, who has the Star of David in their logo when you flip and mirror it. And the Star of David is 30 and 14, which is just pi. You see the pi number in there? 314. That's a thing because it's tied to Judaism. I'm going to show you that. It's tied to Ra. The 148 is the other big marker because 148 is tied to these two elements here, which we've been kind of showing this for many, many years now. It's the I am. 53 and 95 spells out I am, and it gives us a total of 148. And you know what that I am is all about. We say it a lot. I am going to go do this. I am going to, is it you doing it? I am. Where does that come from? Well, it comes from Exodus 3 verses 14. This is the time when Moses goes up to the Mount Sinai mountain and gets the 10 commandments, because the changing of the guards is happening where the age of Taurus is ending and moving into the age of Aries. Of course, they're worshiping the golden calf when he gets down at the bottom and he gets all pissed off. But this is tied to Ra. As we have shown in the Catholic Code of Ra, the Torah Code of Ra, the Christian Code of Ra, all those Bibles, no matter which one you use, including the Quran, they all pledge to Ra. Exodus 3 verses 14 is the total amount of neutrons and protons and electrons that Ra has. Adds up to 314. The I am. The I am. See, it's all chemistry. You see, we're made up of these elements. Not all of them. 60 minerals are essential for your well-being every day as a human being. Heavy metal poisoning can happen. You can die from absorbing certain metals or ingesting them. See, so what is the Star of David tied to? Well, the I am. Just tied to, there's the pi. There's the pi in their address. So the question is, ladies and gentlemen, do you think, and you could do your own research, do you think that OpenAI and all these people that were involved, do you think they sat down first before they said, we're going to put our headquarters on 3rd Street because they were using Chaldean numerology and they needed to get it 30 letters and 14 words so it would match Star of David? No, see, I think that's ludicrous thinking. We live, no matter what, in a scripted reality. We live inside this big computer, and we're now downsizing into our own computer. It's called AI. A fractal below that. And maybe, just maybe, the Bible was written by a computer. I'm starting to think that's a very good possibility. Artificial intelligence wrote it, and it's been around for a long time. Just not absorbed out into the real life world that we live in until now, the age of Aquarius. So it goes even deeper. I'm going to show you the ridiculousness of how scripted our reality is. Well, since this is 314, and since this is showing 314, and since this is showing 314, well, what's the 314 area code? Well, it's Missouri. the show me state, St. Louis. St. Louis has the 314 area code. And what's absolutely fascinating about this is that Samuel Harris Altman, grew up in St. Louis. And he's Jewish. Well, he was born into a Jewish family. I don't know. And like I said, I'm not anti anything. So before you go thinking anything, I want to be clear. I don't care what people are. They're just doing their job. You know my take on this. But obviously, these are not to be left out. What are the odds that this man grows up in St. Louis into a Jewish family, is the kind of the founder of OpenAI, or one of the leaders of it? His name is Samuel. And St. Louis has a 314 area code, which matches Exodus 314, which is the Yod saying, I am who I am. Who is the Yod? And their address has 30 letters and 14 words, which matches Star of David exactly. It's too perfect. And it adds up to 148, which is what iodine and americium add up to. It's too perfect for mankind to get it like this. Let me show you something absolutely fascinating. One day I was messing around with Egypt. And I noticed something very interesting, that Missouri kind of fits right in that space that is Egypt. Come on, man. Of course it does. Are you seeing it? Absolutely it is. So, what I did was I overlaid the map. I overlaid the map of the United States, St. Louis, and I'm gonna slowly make this transparent. Keep your eyes right here. This is the mighty Mississippi River. A lot of these words, Memphis, that's the lower part of Egypt. Well, when I start to pan this out, when I start to get this transparent, just keep your eyes on that St. Louis. Are you seeing it, man? It's literally the Nile River is matching up with the mighty Mississippi. Are you seeing that? Look at it. St. Louis is literally sitting down in the, would be the upper, I think, the upper Egypt. Are you seeing this, folks? And what's even more mind-blowing than that is that the eye, this is like an eyeball, right? An eye, and then the eye literally sits near Iowa City, where it's the Hawkeyes. It's so ridiculous. The Hawkeyes. But St. Louis is literally mimicking the Nile. And Missouri is literally a spitting image of Egypt in that area. Come on, man. How can it be this way? St. Louis is the Nile River. The Mississippi is the Nile River, folks. This is a humdinger, man. And where does Chicago sit? Where Sam Altman was born? Right up there. Right up near Jordan and Jerusalem and Israel. Right there. So if you overlay Chicago and you look at Chicago, yeah, it's literally sits where Israel and Jordan and Jerusalem sit. All these areas of war and religion and, yeah, but ancient Egypt, man, that's Missouri. And this has a 314 area code, which is tied to chapter 3, verses 14, which is tied to the Star of David. You think these things are by accident? No, man. And how busy are people? Like, Do they have this amount of time to sit down and code it first before they end up going to get the headquarters? Like, let's go rent a building. Well, first we got to plug it in to make sure we get it this way. No, I'm not buying it. No, humankind is being used. We're living in a simulation. We're living in a movie. And this guy's doing his job, just like you're doing your job. You're the star of the show. He's the star of his show. I'm the star of my show. I'm not interested in his show. I'm interested in mine. What about you? Well, anyway, this is where he grew up. Another humdinger, and how more ridiculous this is as far as a scripted reality. I've shown this how many times with the latitude, longitudes, X marks the spot. St. Louis, 38 degrees north, 90 degrees west. You add that up, you get 128. What was the founding date of OpenAI? December 8th. What's December in the Gregorian calendar? Month number 12. That gives you 128. And this guy grew up in St. Louis. And this guy was the main founder of OpenAI, which has the Star of David in its symbol. And he's Jewish on top of it, or at least he was born into a Jewish. I don't know if he is. You seeing this? So what's up with this? What is up with this? I finally saw it today, ladies and gentlemen. The arch. Finally saw it today, and there it is. This is what it's tied to. See, the virtual immortality is 55. Well, I knew that the element 25 has the 55. And what's sitting for the icon is the arch, man. It's the St. Louis arch where this guy grew up. And on top of that, it's got 25 protons, which matches the word fallen. See, this is the fallen angel story as well. In hell, stuck in the Tartarus prison. Are you seeing this, folks? This is so scripted, I don't even know what to say, really. But this is what they're after. This is what Altered Carbon was about. This is what they're after. Immortality. The fallen ones are looking for immortality. This guy was born on the 22nd. That's titanium, tied to the Titans. The Titans are looking for immortality. We are the Titans. There's so much more to this. I'm going to leave it there because it's ridiculously funny. I'll leave it there. But anyway, let's go to Genesis 3 verses 22. Let's go to the Torah. This is a infamous scripture, Genesis 3:22. And we're going to do what's called theonumerology. I've done this many times now, where you just take all the verses and you add them up. And it gives us 78. And that's a big clue because we go to the periodic table and it's platinum. See, this is the scripture of man knowing good and evil. The tree of knowledge, now you know it, and now you want to take part in the tree of life. This is immortality, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this is. And it's tied to platinum, and platinum is kind of like, if you watch any Robert Edward Grant stuff, he had a little thing on the electrum, which is like a cosmic metal, a blend of gold and silver, if you will. Platinum sits right next to gold in the periodic table. It's very valuable. It doesn't corrode. Maybe you have some jewelry that's made of platinum. Well, there's the clue there in Chaldean, 32. 32 is the degrees at what water freezes at, right? And that 32 versus 33. 33 means it liquefies, so it changes state. 32, it goes into a solid. This is maybe giving us the clue that this state is duality. 32 degrees Fahrenheit is when water freezes, indicating perhaps matter. Right? Matter. And then 33 is ascension, and you go to a matter to a liquid. It goes to a different state. But this is a really, really big deal, this stuff. It's way deeper than this. I'm just giving you the surface stuff. Let me show you Samuel's birth card. He was born on April 22nd, 1985. Here is his card, Queen of Clubs card, card number 25, which I showed right here. He's card number 25. Manganese has the 55. Virtual immortality, which is what OpenAI is all about. That's my opinion, but I think it's the handwriting's on the wall. He's got the Queen of Wands card number 35. This is tied to the graveyard. Why do I say that? I'm going to go to numerology. This is where we go when we die. Graveyard. 25. And what is the graveyard? The black sun. Which is what? Earth. Does Earth give off any of its own light? Nope. And Earth is feminine. Queen. The Titans live on the black sun. Well, he's got the 25th card, the Queen of Clubs. Super intelligent. Extremely intelligent. It's one of his gifts. This is the consort to the King of Clubs, which is the mastermind card. So it's the feminine mastermind. And when you go to Solar Spread 32, which is tied to the word immortality, and you go to that 30-second space, there's his card. Mic drop. And over here on the Spirit Sprite that governs that, it's the Watchers card. This is card number 70. The word Watchers in Hebrew is 70. The Watchers are the custodians. And the story is in Genesis that they had lust for the women and they mated with them and they created the offspring and interbred and all that kind of stuff. Now, is it true? I don't know, but it's written in the story. We're living inside of a movie. Are you seeing this? This guy doesn't have a choice. Why do you think you have a choice? How about this other Sam? I mean, this amazing show, Mr. Robot. Sam, Mr. Robot, immortality, cryptocurrency. The handwriting's on the wall. Sam is tied to the mother letters of Hebrew. Shin, Aleph, and Mem are the three mother letters, the mother letters of Hebrew. Shin, Aleph, Mem. Why would the three mother letters be tied to Sam and Samuel? And why is there a book of Samuel in the Bible, in the Old Testament? Because it's all scripted, folks. The whole thing. Well, now we get into silicon. And back to the OpenAI. See, the silicon and these computers and servers, silicon has a lot to do with it. Silicon is tied to the future because silicon is the technology capital of the world. And if we just remove the word star of and we just put in David, well, now we have a huge clue because David ties to silicon. And they clearly have the Star of David in their logo, and they are located in the vicinity of Silicon Valley. This has got a weight of 28, isotope 28. There it is. Google, the largest artificial gatherer. ChatGPT, they're all 28s in Chaldean. Demigod is the computer. We're in the Kali Yuga, the farthest away from the Golden Age, where you rely on a computer now for your answers. 28, and that's tied to nickel, which is called devil's copper. I'm going to show you that. When you add up the neutrons, protons, and electrons of silicon, you just take 14 and add it to 28, you'll get 42. And there's Silicon Valley. And what's 42? Life, the universe, everything. That whole series, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, BBC did a whole thing on it that we're living in a computer. Tron Legacy, inside of a computer. Kevin Flynn gets stuck inside the computer. Stuck inside the computer, folks. So silicon is 23. And December 8th, the founding date of this, is get the 23rd card in the deck. I'll just show you that so we can be very transparent. Here's the boilerplate chart for the cards. Here's December, and we come down to the 8th, and there's the 10 of clubs. This is card number 23. Here, they're all numbered. Here's the 10 of clubs, card 23. You ever heard of 23 and me? Well, why do you think they were gathering all that DNA stuff? Well, see, 23andMe is tied to this word right here. Blood. And it's also tied to this. Crown. And then it's also tied to this. History. I mean, right now you can go to chat, you can go to Architect, you can plug in stuff, and you can find out a wealth of information. And before that, it was Google, which is still going strong. 10 o'clock, the 10. Do you realize the 10th letter in the Hebrew alphabet is the Yod, which is all about the Star of David? The Yod. What would the odds be that this system, which is magical, is tied to this founding date for this company who has the symbol of the Yod in its logo? And the Yod is the 10th letter in Hebrew, and that's got a big fat 10 on it. And this is the binary system, the 1 and the 0, and that's what we're moving into. We're moving away from analog, and we're moving into digital, which is on, off, up, down, left, right, hot, cold. Squares. There's no, the linear is going away. The analog, the dials. And then what about Prometheus? Prometheus is tied to the Yod, man. Of course. This movie, Prometheus, Ridley Scott, 2012, came out the same year the Mayan calendar supposedly ended. Well, who was David? He was a robot. Jesus says, I am the root and offspring of David. Well, what if David is just a computer? And the Bible is just a computer-generated book? Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's more scripted reality. Michael Fassbender, the amazing actor. I loved him in X-Men. Magneto. I don't know how much more scripted you can get unless Michael Fassbender's in on this big conspiracy to get one past you. He was born on the 2nd of April, and this was founded on the 8th of December. What happens when you bring 2 and 8 together? You get freaking the weight of silicon. And the star, this is David, and David is 14, and silicon is 14, and silicon means the future. And he's a robot. He was born first, so it's the 2 before the 8. And yes, you can take the 8 and 2 and bring it together. What is 82? Lead. So yeah, Chronos is in there. And what is Chronos? Time. Silicon is time. As a matter of fact, if I go to numerology and I type that word in, time, it's going to give us 14. Just like the word God is 14. Just like the word Satan is 14. Because they're tied to silicon. And right above silicon is carbon, which is the king of all elements, and that's where we come into the play. And right below 14 is germanium, which is immortality. This whole row, this is Zeus, this is lead and Saturn. All of these are clues, folks. This is the greatest thing ever in the world of code breaking, this whole chart. It's amazing. So you think this guy's trying to get one past you? I doubt it. No, he's an actor. And you're an actor, and I'm an actor, or maybe you're an actress. And we're in a movie, man. We make movies, we're in a movie. His birth card, April 2nd, the 45th card in the deck, 6 of spades. And of course, this is the 10 of clubs, card number 23. You just add them up. 45 and 23, 68. Is that a big deal? Yeah, because artificial intelligence equals 68. He's a robot in the damn movie. This is the 5 books of the Torah. So, ladies and gentlemen, scratching my head with this, man. And, it's like, what if the Bible is just a book that was written by a computer? What if? There's so many booby traps in that book, and there's all this killing and genocide, and then there's this love story, and then there's this and that. It's a book of chaos and order is all it is. And these are reduced down to the number 5. And we have 5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 senses. Well, let's get into the founding date and the publicly announced to the world date. This is right from ChatGPT. December 8th is when they incorporated or established their legal entity, and December 11th is when it was publicly announced to the world that they were bringing it out onto the world stage. And here are its 2 cards. We already went to December 8th, 10 of clubs. What's the public? 7 of clubs. Card number 20. The word duality is 20. But that's not the big clue. It's when you look at the 2 cards. What do we have? We have a 10 and a 7. 107. And when you add them up, 23 and 20, you get 43. Not by accident. Intelligence is 23 and 20. But the 107, what's that all about? We're going to get to that. The intelligence, 43, and these 2 cards add up to 43. And we're talking about AI. Yeah, well, the word serpent in Hebrew is 43. And 43 is the 14th prime number, and the 14th letter in Hebrew is nun, which is a serpent if you go look at it. The nun, the serpent. It's also tied to mercury. I did a whole decode on mercury and the serpent. Mercury has 7 stable isotopes. The middle one is mercury, mercury, mercury. Hermes, the trickster. Prometheus, the serpent. That's what it leads to. 14 is silicon. So the story of Genesis quite possibly could be the same story that Tron Legacy was trying to tell you, that Kevin Flynn in Tron ends up finding a way to go inside of his game, go down into the computer, and he gets stuck in there. And maybe, just maybe, human beings found a way to go down a fractal into this game. And they're stuck here. No matter what, we're living in a scripted reality. No matter which way you slice or dice it, we live in a scripted reality. We're living inside of a movie, no matter what. How about this guy? More scripted reality. Alan Turing, considered to be the father of theoretical computer science and considered to be the guy who created the first general purpose computer. We're talking about AI, open source AI, and ChatGPT. This man had a hand in it. Look at his birth and death card, folks. He was born on June 23rd, 20th card in the deck. He passed away on June 7th, 10 of diamonds. What do you see there? What do you see here? The same exact cards for OpenAI. Except they're flipped. And it doesn't have the 10 of diamonds, it has the 10 of clubs, but it's a 10. 107. 107. The guy who basically created the computer, and then OpenAI, who created ChatGPT. And all the other layers that they've created, all the amazing things they've created. Are you seeing this? So let's compare Alan and OpenAI. Here is his death day, his death card. His birth card, 7 of clubs. And here is the founding date of OpenAI. What do we have there? The 107, which in the full Hebrew gematria is Star of David. The guy who was responsible basically for the computers we have today, or a huge hand in it, and then the company who really is leading the way in virtual reality, I would say, artificial intelligence, creating all this metaverse and all that. This is all Aquarius AI stuff. And it's tied right to Judaism, ladies and gentlemen. And I've been saying this for how long now? The Bible is a book about transhumanism. And Jesus says, I am from the offspring of David. Could he just be saying, I'm born from a computer system? There's the 107 right there. It's right there on the cards. You can't miss this stuff. And 107 is the 28th prime number. And just go back up here. Look at all these 28s. Google, ChatGPT, Demigod, which is the computer, Architect, which is a computer, because it gets to build things, but it's a demigod. It's a fractal down. Well, 107 is the Star of David, and I question, is this just a computer? I mean, they have the black box, right? Is Saturn just a computer? Is that all it is? That might just be what it is. That's it. And we are getting now the remnants. They've had this technology for the longest time. And we just get we're now getting it spilled out onto our reality, and we're wooed and wowed, and the technology that we're getting are scraps compared to what they've been putting out. It could just be a computer, folks. And we live inside of a computer. I don't know how it works beyond that, but this is too perfect. This reality that we have. And it comes down, a lot of it, to chemistry. So here is Samuel Altman, born on the 22nd of April, and this row of elements, nickel, palladium, platinum, dysprosium, gadolinium, and curium. This row adds up to 422, which is this guy's birthday, 422. Why am I showing this, and why is it a big deal? Because the last element in this row, this is row 10, is nickel. And nickel means devil's copper. Devil's copper. This is not by accident. All of the protons add up to 422, which is this guy's birthday. And he creates the OpenAI, which is, this is a huge part of it. Elon Musk is the other guy who is a part of it. What's Elon Musk's birthday? Take a wild guess. He was born on June, what number is that? 28th. He was born on June 28th. And he supports this guy and creates all that. And again, they're just doing their job. The Neuralink, that's on its way. It's all chemistry, man. Nickel, palladium. There's the platinum. There's the Genesis 3 verses 22. There's God. There's the yin yang. Chronos is 96 in Greek numerology. 96. This row is huge. And all the protons add up to 422, which is this guy's birthday. And he's the one who's leading, or he's the head of this table. Was, is, whatever. It's all scripted, folks. No matter which way you slice it. So let's get to the tail end of this. Let's now compare December 8th, when they founded OpenAI, the 342nd day of the year, and then when Alan passed away. It's kind of like passing the torch. June 7th, he passed away, 158th day of the year. That's going to lead to gadolinium, the most abundant isotope, 64th element. But it's when we do the math. We subtract 342 minus 158, 184. You remember what that 184 is tied to? Yeah. It's the numbers for the founding, the headquarters for OpenAI, which is the Star of David, 30 letters and 14 words. And 53 and 95 equals 148. Remember, these numbers are the numbers of the Vesica piscis. It's 418 when you add up 265 and 153. The square root of 3. They're at 3rd Street. I'm telling you, the Vesica piscis is in here as well, because this is tied to the Vesica piscis, because this fits into the flower of life. And the flower of life is tied right to the Vesica piscis. The whole thing. So the last thing I'll show you here is, there is the story of the Mayans and going from a physical body into a crystalline body. Now, I'm just regurgitating this. But is this what the whole transference and altered carbon and all that, is that all tied into this? Because clearly in Chaldean, God and architect are tied to silicon. Silicon means the future. Well, what creates the future? The architect does. But is there not an architect in OpenAI's software? Yeah. I mean, Robert Edward Grant's taken off with it like crazy. But it's tied to computer chips and silicon. We're moving into Aquarius, which is silicon based. I don't know what it's going to look like there, ladies and gentlemen. I just don't see us going back to horse and buggy, 8-track players. I don't see us going back to Rand McNally maps. I don't see us putting phones back on the wall with long cords. I don't see us going back to cassette tapes. Do you? No matter what the outcome is. But the last thing I'll leave you with here is, do you think we live inside of a computer? See, I think we do. And then we create these so we can go inside of them. And you need the code to do it. This is code that writes software. And if any of these are wrong, like a website looks like this on the back end. If it's wrong, the website's not going to look right. This is what creates our reality. Letters, numbers, and symbols. Which creates wallpapers and files and programs and operating systems. So maybe, just maybe, we live inside of a computer and that's it. And no matter what, through the ages that we move through, it's just a different scenario playing out. But because we're moving into the age of Aquarius, Aquarius is the knowledge, the wisdom. It's I am, I know thyself. Pisces was I have faith and I believe. We're moving away from that. But ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about it. There's something to this. I'm going to figure it out and get the reality of it past this. But this is a no-brainer. That is a no-brainer. It's all chemistry at the end of the day. And this, well, remember, Satan in Hebrew equals 44. Just remember that. Okay? Just remember that. And if you haven't seen this show, you probably should go watch it. It's 2 seasons now. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Scripted Reality 31 in the books. There's more to go, man. I got a Transhumanism that will be out exclusively on the Patreon. Transhumanism's coming out, another one, because I already did part 1. I'm going to do another one. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decoding the Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.